Welcome to YSU's Alumni Lecture Series. My name is Dr. Nicolette Poe. I am an assistant professor of public health, and today we're going to do something a little different. Normally when we have these sessions, we talk to our MPH, Masters of Public Health alumni. But I thought we would do something a little different for February, because now we'll have the opportunity to kind of talk about what we refer to as like a public health campaign or awareness. So, before we get started, I want to remind you to please post your questions in the comment sections, and I will try to do my best to get those questions answered, because we had a lot last time and we expect even more tonight. So, I have the pleasure of introducing Tracy Behnke, and she is the executive director for the American Heart Association. And if you don't know, one of the key things that the American Heart Association does is focus on community education, how the impacts and funding is used to support our surrounding communities such as Akron, Canton, Youngstown, and Mercy, Pennsylvania. These communities are supported through the work that Tracy Behnke is doing. Now, let's talk about this. Now, you might be thinking, well, how did Tracy come about getting into working for the American Heart Association? Well, don't worry, we're going to ask her that. But what I want to share with you is some of the work that she has done at the American Heart Association that I think you might find interesting. One, for example, she served as the youth marketing director, where she worked with over 9 county school districts to really encourage the healthy eating with children. Now, this is important because when we talk about how do we try to reduce some of the chronic diseases that we see, it can start at such a very young age. And that is simply by choosing healthy food options, something so simple as that. Another thing that the American Heart Association is known for is spreading awareness about, conditions such as heart disease and stroke. And so I want to take this time to ask our guest speaker today to share with our listeners and our audience about your experience first here at YSU, because Tracy Behnke, but most importantly, connecting your experience with what you've done since you've left YSU and how that connects back to some of the work that you do that we would say is like public health related, public health awareness and public health campaigns.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us about your experience while you was here at YSU and what you've been doing since you left.
So it's crazy to think that I left YSU in 2008.
Oh.
So it's been just a few years. But we were just talking earlier about how campus has changed so much.
Yes.
And how just the experience here now is just so different than it was 10 plus years ago or so. But it really taught me so many things about the community. I'm from here originally, went to school in Austintown, stuck around, obviously such a proud Youngstown State grad, such a proud just community member. And while my journey hasn't always been in, kind of the nonprofit sector with the American Heart Association, kind of took a realm with sports for quite some time and did some sports marketing, worked for the Houston Astros, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And here at YSU, I got the opportunity to go to Houston and lived there for 6 months, moved in with 3 complete strangers for my internship, and it was the most a really, really great time. So while there's so many things that happen close to home, I really was excited for that opportunity, and then coming back and sharing that with so many people just after that took place. And then worked for the Cavs right after college graduation, got connected with a former YSU alumni as well that was in the sports industry already. And that Penguin connection and that Penguin group is so strong throughout the country, as we know. And so was really excited to connect again with Bob Civic. He was with the Cavs at the time and started there right out of here. Worked there for about 6 years and then started working with the Heart Association through that realm. Really, they were a group that came in, some of their top fundraisers, some of their volunteer coordinators would come and do a program with the Cavs that I helped support every year and really fell in love with the mission. Like you said, it's all about how our heart healthy choices make an impact. And even the smallest things that we do every day are just things that we need to focus on. And so I really took that to heart, not as a pun, but really did, and realized, okay, when I look at Youngstown, when I look at the areas that we serve, the need for education, the need for reminding people why it's important to be healthy. Unfortunately, our stats here aren't great as far as what health is and what healthy is in this community. So how I can come back home, make a difference, and have been fortunate enough for the last 7.5 years to be a part of the AHA and hopefully being a part of the solution to a health crisis that we're facing, not only in Youngstown and surrounding communities, but just all over. So
it's really interesting that you mentioned about the alumni being all over. I was traveling to Jackson, Mississippi, and I was at the Houston, Texas airport, and I had my YSU stuff on, and I met an alumni. He was like, hey, what do you know about YSU? I was like, I worked there. He was like, I graduated from there. We took a picture, and I was just like, wow. It's always fun to meet people who you don't know, but you share something in common. And I told him to come back to campus because campus had changed so much. But that kind of reminds me of this whole notion when we talk about what's happening in the community, and every community is so different. And so when we think about the role that the American Heart Association plays, I think it's really important to kind of highlight this whole notion about the fact that the American Heart has like American Heart Month. And why is that celebrated? What does that mean?
Yeah, so this is actually the 57th year that Heart Month is in February. It's a great tie-in, I feel like, for so many reasons. We think about Valentine's Day. Hearts are already part of February.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's just a great tie-in from that end. I also feel like, too, when we think about the first of the year, New Year's resolutions. So many people set those in January. They're normally health related in some way, shape, or form. But then maybe when February gets here, things may start to fall off. You may start to pick up bad habits or kind of drop those healthy habits. So it's really our time to shine. We really spend the whole month talking about cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer in America. It's not something we want to be #1 at. Everybody wants to be #1 at something. This is not something that we're proud of for being #1 at. So we really want to just help educate the community. While it's the #1 killer, it's 80% preventable. So we're taking time this month to really just share heart healthy tips, to share why it's important, and really just get people thinking about, okay, what can I do in my own life to live a longer, healthier life? I mean, that's our mission, is really to be a relentless force for that. And so how we can do that every day, but most importantly,
think about this, there is a significant focus on women and during the Heart Month, and why is that?
Yeah, so another fact that a lot of people don't know, especially our younger generation doesn't understand, heart disease is actually the #1 killer of women also. So 1 in 3 women will die of cardiovascular disease. When we think about it, there's so many causes, there's so many devastating things that happen. Heart disease actually kills more women than all cancers combined. And so it's just something that, again, women are always so busy. They may not be taking time for themselves to pay attention to their bodies. They kind of just put themselves on the back burner because they are caretakers, parents, working, all the things that we do every day. And we're like, oh, we're fine. We'll take care of it. Everything's fine. And then unfortunately, when things happen, they think of the Heart Association, they think of things in more of a reactive way instead of a proactive manner. And so we're really trying to change that, just allowing women that platform to say, okay, we are important, we need to take the time for ourselves, because if we're not healthy, we can't be there for the ones that we love and give our best to them as well.
And I think you bring up a really good point about with women, we oftentimes are the rocks of the family, we make sure everybody's taken care of, and then it becomes, well, I'll do something for myself later, or, later, and sometimes later never comes until it's like something happens, right? And so I know that the American Heart Association has a program that's referred to as the Go Red for Women. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so about 17 years ago, this concept came to life.
Okay.
And really it is taking that time, and really the focus is around women's health, how we are measuring that, how we are thinking about that, and saying, okay, even if it's 10 minutes a day, if it's 5 minutes a day, take that time for yourself. It's been around in larger communities for a very long time, and we're actually so excited that this year we're bringing the Go Red for Women campaign to Youngstown, to Mercer, obviously in a different way than it normally looks. Everything's a little different now, but we are just so excited to share, whether it's survivor stories or stories of inspiration for people to really say, okay, this makes sense. And people don't realize too that heart disease is getting younger and younger. It's scary.
Let's talk about this, because this is a real issue. Usually when you think about heart disease, you think, oh, those people that, like your grandparents, right?
Yes.
Or, you don't think about, oh, I don't have to worry about that because I'm young.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to live forever.
I'm healthy, yes.
Right, I'm healthy, of course, right? But the reality is something this is a growing problem,
yes.
especially for young adults. Like, hypertension is a major, major problem for young adults. And oftentimes it gets overlooked because the reality is, particularly the statistics clearly show that a child that is obese as a child are more likely to be obese as an adult, right?
Yes.
And so if obesity is one contributing factor, that also increases the risk for heart disease, diabetes, and other issues. And so for young adults particularly, looking at this whole notion of elevated blood pressures,
yes.
or because they may not exactly have hypertension just yet, but they may have elevated blood pressures, and understanding the implications of that at such a young age. If you're having, if you have been diagnosed with hypertension at a young adult, as a 20-year-old,
Yep.
or even as a adolescent, a teenager, because of some risk factors that increases your risk, and then the longer you have that condition and it's not under control,
Yep.
like being physically active, eating right, not smoking, getting enough sleep, all these things that we just kind of, drinking water, all these things that we kind of just take for granted. It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
And then, if they are being diagnosed at such a young age, by the time they get to middle age, I don't know what that is, middle age, but that middle age, that place where they're like at the prime of their life.
Yep.
Not to say if you're older, that's not prime, but they're experiencing major complications that you would not traditionally see until they're much older, where they're like retired. And so when you think about this, young adults just till middle age, where they're at the peak of their, in theory, peak of prime of their life, and having such a major chronic disease like hypertension and other risk factors that are associated with hypertension, it's concerning. Yes. And so really having such a program like the Go Red for Women come into our area is really important, because we need to make sure that people are taking this seriously. So that makes me think about what other things are going to be happening during the month of February to try to bring this awareness.
Yeah, so I think too, when you talk about people getting diagnosed with it, I think the first step is even making sure that you know what your numbers are. Because a lot of times when you think, when you're younger, you're like, oh, I go to the doctor, and you don't really pay attention to that. I think you pay attention when you are in the waiting room, you get on the scale, and they take your blood pressure, and you're like, oh, I don't know what that number means. I don't, anything like that. So it's just knowing that too, 120 over 80 is a healthy blood pressure. No matter what age you are, it doesn't change with age, anything like that. That's just what a healthy number is. And I think the biggest thing is to know your number so that if it is high, you can make those changes early. It's a lot easier to make those changes when we're younger and not set in our ways, as opposed to it happening later in life where you're stuck in this pattern, things like that, and those habits are already established. So, in February, we have taken a different approach to our messaging.
Okay.
We have decided to kind of go with this 28 Days of Heart Health campaign that's running through our social media channels through the whole month of February. So every day there's a quick tip, if you will, for heart healthy messaging. So it's something that you can put into your daily life, and hopefully it becomes a heart healthy habit, and it's something that you continue every day. Right. So Mondays, we're doing things like Mindfulness Mondays, putting yourself in that good headspace for the day. Even if it's a minute, setting a good intention, thinking something positive, it really can change the whole outlook of your day. Tuesdays, we're talking about tracking your numbers. So again, blood pressure, cholesterol, all of those things that we know we need to know. And my family and my friends, they know when they talk to me, I'm like, so what's your blood pressure? Like, it's a great, dinner topic, things like that. And they all know when I call them, It's going to be a question that I ask, so it's really fun that way. And they love me for it, I'm sure. But I think the biggest thing is just knowing those numbers, knowing we need to make a change, knowing when it's getting a little bit higher to start just peeling things back. Wednesday is Workout Wednesday, so we're talking, yes, anything that you can do, so building your own circuit at home. Obviously, a lot of things have changed, but we have seen that even a 10-minute break from your day, standing up every hour, stretching, doing those kind of things, again, not only keeps you healthier, keeps you moving, things like that. There was a study that was a while back, but it said that sitting's the new smoking.
Yes.
People sitting, especially now,
all day,
in front of their computers, Zoom, wherever they're at, making sure that we're taking those chances when we can to stand up and move. It's really scary to think that even just sitting can be causing so much damage just, from a long-term perspective. So making sure, we're getting up and taking calls when we're walking or just doing things like that too. So, I'm really hopeful that people will check into our Facebook page. We're at the American Heart Ohio on Facebook, and really just start following along with the 20 Days of Heart Health. And just thinking differently. We have Foodie Fridays, so different healthy recipes. So tomorrow will be the first one from that, probably next week. Tomorrow's a big day for us. We'll get to that. But thinking about food, we have survivor stories that we're sharing. Some of our volunteers are sharing their passion and why they go red or why they support the American Heart Association. I think over the last 7.5 years, we always talk about what's your why we do what we do. The days can be long, it can be tough, when you're going in a nonprofit world and fundraising, things like that. But it comes back to the people that we meet every day that we're affecting, whether it's people that have survived a heart attack, a stroke, families for ones that we've lost, that we want to make sure we're doing everything that we can at the AHA to make sure that other families don't have to go through that. So it just really gives you that driving motivation to keep fighting the good fight and making sure that we're getting our education out there, we're getting the awareness out there, and just letting people know that we're here, and it is preventable, and we're here to help remind people of that. We all know how to do it. It's just that nice little gentle reminder every now and again to make sure that we're bringing those to the forefront.
I think you highlighted some really key pieces about this, about just knowing your numbers, because people are like, well, I don't have any blood pressure. My blood pressure is not high, so why do I need to check my blood pressure? Like, I don't have high blood pressure, but I check my blood pressure because I want to know if it's changing. I want to kind of get a heads up early on. I don't want to wait until there's a problem, like I got shortness of breath or some other chest pains and stuff like that. That's where we're starting to see major symptoms where you can be proactive and just simply check your blood pressures on a regular basis. Start there. That's the starting place.
Exactly.
So you made me think about something when we were talking about family members. I like to believe in some cases if we don't know someone, we have a family member or friends who have some type of heart disease issues or have had a stroke, right? And then you think about, when you talk about interacting with the survivors, they're trying to get that message out, like, this doesn't have to be you. You don't have to go through what I went through. And I think one of the biggest hurdles is, one, people getting diagnosed, because, they got to go to the doctor. Have an annual exam, making sure that things are staying good, because although I may not feel like anything's wrong, that doesn't mean that there's not something going on. And so making sure that you go to the doctor on a regular basis to get that annual checkup. That's the starting place, right? And then you're thinking about if there is an issue, or you have an elevated blood pressures, or if you have been diagnosed with hypertension, taking it serious. Something as simple as taking your medication as prescribed. Listening to the doctor and the healthcare providers when they tell you need to make some adjustments because you're having issues, and that you're having issues, but you continue to do the things that are contributing to why you're having issues. And I'm still trying to understand that, because something as simple as not smoking. And we've all heard it before. Well, we got to die from something. Well, you don't want to die like that, because there's nothing worse than to talk to someone, a family member or friend, one day, and the next day or the next hour they're not here. That has happened. To me and my family members and my friends in the last year. I've lost my father I didn't know that he had hypertension. I didn't know. And I was like, he's like, I ain't never, I got to the doctor. And he went to the doctor, yes, he did. But having that conversation with your family members about what's going on with you, and maybe they can be that support, that you need to, help you live that healthier life, or to help sustain those healthy choices that you need to have. So, and then I think back to one of my really close friends, she lost her mother just recently, and she basically, her heart was bad, and she didn't make it. And I think, like, man, now we had these conversations that you got to do better. It's like, yeah, I know. You taking medication? Oh, I forgot to take it. Just understanding the seriousness of such a major disease like heart disease, and recognizing that it can kill you if you don't take it serious and do all that you can as an individual to prevent that. So my question to you is, with all that said, is understanding that, so how important it is for people, one, to be aware of what the signs and symptoms are for a heart attack or a stroke. That's important, but also thinking about what else can they do, like what other programs are available or that's out here that people can get involved in, or try to get more information if they've heard this message and they're like, what can I do? Yes. What can I do? I'm going to do better. My New Year's resolution in February, okay? Yes.
It's fine. Better late than never. Right. You got to take that first step at some point. Yes.
Never too late. So what can they do?
So honestly, it's being aware of that. I think we all say, okay, later. I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do, and we want people to start now, just understanding the importance of it. Nobody is going to fix it for you.
Right.
You have to take that accountability. And if it is your family, your friends that are going to do it with you, it's almost easier that way, because then you have people to lean on, you have people to talk to it about. I feel like when people get on a healthy kick in any way, they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They want to say, like, oh, I did this, I'm running this, I made this today. Some of my friends and I have just a recipe in our group message, we send Instant Pot recipes to each other so that, hey, try this one out, this one's good, things like that. So it's making it fun. I think that's the big thing, is just making healthy things fun. It may not be something that you grew up with. I think about culture all the time. I'm Italian. We had pasta and sauce and all the carbs that you could imagine.
Carbs
on carbs. Yes, all the time. And my grandfather had a heart attack, open heart surgeries. My grandmother had a stroke. My mom had everything under the sun, because that was the culture. It was accepted. They didn't think twice about it. When they got sick, it just was, they didn't think about it. And we have so many choices now, and there's so many options. It's all about balance. It's not saying that you can't have pasta on Sundays if you're Italian, or red wine. It's all about balance. But it's not having it every single day. It's allowing yourself to eat more fruits and vegetables, to get creative in the kitchen. I feel like this year, we've all been home a lot.
Yes.
So I feel like we've gotten, maybe sick of the same old that we cook every single day. But a lot of people too that I've heard of, like, oh, I've tried this new recipe, or I've tried that. So they're trying new healthy things and healthy alternatives, which I think is just fantastic. So it's really being aware of the decisions that you're making every single day. And it doesn't have to be life-changing. I'm not saying everybody go out, you can never have red meat or carbs again, and you have to go run a marathon tomorrow. Start small. Start something small that's going to be sustainable. If we kind of go all in at once, it's really hard to take a step back, and then you kind of fall off the bandwagon maybe after a while. So do things that are healthy for your family, get everybody on board, and really just, you'll see your life start to change for the better, and you'll be just happier, healthier, and you can then share that message with somebody else.
So you bring up this really good point, getting other people involved, like having a buddy system, I think that's really important, or whatever that is that, you enjoy doing, and maybe you haven't done it in a while because like life happens, right?
Yes.
Life happens all the time.
Yes.
But really getting back into whatever that is, finding that thing, and bringing a buddy, bring a group of people with you to do it.
Oh yeah.
And so I think back, I think about, I'm totally into fitness. I like to be physically active on a regular basis.
Yes.
Every single day I have to do something. All my friends who know me, they know that this is true. I am not like, bodybuilder or anything like that. But I know the facts is I'm going to move my body every single day, even if it's, having a conference call, because that seems to be all that we do.
Yep.
We're always on some online meeting, and I'm working out while I'm doing something while I'm in the meeting. Like if I'm moving my hands and doing the two-step, whatever.
Yep.
The key is to get up and move your body, because your body was designed to be in motion.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of my friends, this is what we've been doing for a long time now. It seems like forever, but for the last couple of months, I've tried to encourage all of my friends to get wearable fitness trackers. So the Apple Watch, Fitbit, whatever, Garmin, whatever that device that you have. Get the device, keep track of, how often you stand, how often you're in motion, trying to be physically active for at least 30 minutes. Okay, if you haven't done anything, we're gonna start with 5. 5 minutes is a good starting place.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's 2 minutes, whatever, on the commercial breaks, whatever that is.
Yep.
Start doing something, right? To be more physically active and to move your body. And then when we talk about eating, I think you brought up a really good point about trying different things and try it more than once, because maybe you screw it up.
Right.
We've talked about cooking before, and I like to eat, so I jokingly say that's why I work out.
Well, right.
Because I like to eat,
The
so I know
balance.
I gotta
Exactly.
work out, but especially there's certain things that I like to enjoy, and I know if I enjoy those things, then that means I got to do a little extra working out. So it's a balancing act,
Yep.
right? So it got to be a give and take. And I think you bring up a really good point about it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yes.
Finding that middle ground, that moderation is so important. And I think the American Heart Association has a lot of different programs that they offer, and so for the men out there, I know they may be thinking, well, what's in it for me? What do you have for us? We've talked about the focus on women. What can men who are listening to this program, what could they do? Or are there programs that the American Heart Association supports that men could benefit from?
Yeah, so I think everything we do has such a great focus on everybody. We know that heart disease does not discriminate.
Yes.
Age, race, gender, anything. It does not discriminate. And so how we just convey that to everybody. While we have our Go Red for Women campaign, we also have Men Go Red that take place in February too. So we have a lot of men that come support, whether it is their colleagues, their spouses, their friends, who may have been affected. Yes, everybody. Yeah.
Grandmama.
Yep. Everybody at all. Any woman in their life that they are
Right.
helping, especially, really all times. But I think, in February, we have that focus on women because it's like, okay, let's take that time for yourself and make it happen.
Right.
And just being that support system for them. We have some really great things, whether it is our heart walks, just our community events that we have. We also have, our board of directors that sits that you're a member of with us as well. But just those opportunities to share the message, whether it's with your friends, your family, your colleagues, it's incredible. And the Heart Association has so many resources and so many programs. We could spend the next week talking about them. But it is just one of those things where we're always here to help support people. No matter what it is, if there's questions, if there are anything, we have so many resources, so much information for everything, for every person, for everyone. And really we're here to help however we can.
So you talked about earlier that there was something big happening tomorrow. Can you tell me about what's happening tomorrow?
I sure can. So tomorrow is my favorite day of the year.
Tell me about it.
It's not my birthday, unfortunately. It's not anything like that. So the first Friday in February is National Wear Red Day.
It's why we have on red.
Exactly. My whole closet, I was like, oh, what red thing should I wear today?
Right.
The one thing it's that visual reminder of why we do what we do every day. So if you are in the Youngstown area, the Mercer, Akron, Canton area tomorrow, we have about 25, 30 buildings, bridges that are going red tomorrow with us. All of our local news channels will be going red, so our anchors will have the red dress pins, so they'll be rocking that. We just have so many great things going on tomorrow, and really it's just trying to paint the town red, so that we're literally saying, okay, like somebody might question, like, oh, why are you wearing red today? And we could be like, oh, we're the Heart Association, it's Heart Month, it's National Wear Red Day. So it's not only here, it's a national movement that really is just sharing with everybody, this is our day. It's our time to shine. The first Friday in February, normally our Go Red for Women lunches are that day around the community. But like I said, we're having some really great programming, some really great things happening. And again, just tomorrow, if everybody can just rock their red, share on social media, the pictures of you in your red, sharing your why with us. You know, thank you for sharing your whys. We all have them of why we do what we do and why this is important. And it's just really being a part of a movement tomorrow is what we're really excited about. So you will see a sea of red all over the place tomorrow.
So let me ask you this then. What is the circle of red? What is that?
So our circle of red is it's a society. It's a giving society for women and men that is really about those who want to make a difference and who want to network with people who maybe in the same boat as they are. So the circle of red is a lot of our survivors, a lot of women of influence in the community who we say, okay, we want to network in one way, shape or form. This year it's looking a little bit different. We're doing some weeknight sessions with meditation, with yoga. We're doing a cooking demonstration in March. And it's a community. It's a kind of a little just group of women that are just really passionate about wanting to make a difference and helping each other, whether it's keeping each other accountable, doing those kind of things. So we just want to make sure that we know that, their whys are important and they're just sharing that with us too. So it's really exciting. So we have that going on. They'll be recognized at our Go Affirm event at the end of the month here in Youngstown. So it's just so many great things that are happening.
Okay. I know that we're getting close for time, so I better start asking see if there's any questions here. All right, so let's see. There's a couple of questions. We got a lot of questions. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see where we got. First question, if I set a goal to close all of my rings on my Apple Watch for the entire year, that is great. I'm encouraging you to do that. Is that a good goal to stay heart healthy, or should I focus on smaller goals first?
It's really about what you feel like you can accomplish and stick with. While we say we should get about 120 minutes per week of moderate activity, that is less than closing your rings every single day from that end. But again, it's just whatever you feel like you can stick with. I always say, if you can get the movement in and you feel good for the day, do it. Don't stress about a number on the scale. Don't stress about what one thing is or one thing isn't. It's what makes you feel good and know that you're moving your body in the right way. So if you feel like you can do it, rock on. There's some days where I'm like, I'm gonna do this for the whole month, and then you just have a day where you just need a break, and that's totally fine.
So it is funny that you should say this about the Apple Watch, because my cousin and I, we have a challenge going on. And if you're watching, yes,
it's close.
Yes, I am a machine. That's right. That's right. Because I am committed to closing all of my circles, all 3 of my circles, every single day. And some days are easier than others, but I'm committed to, because for me it's my motivation. Or perhaps, as my father and my dad's side of the family would say, we like to talk a lot of trash about who's winning.
Oh yeah.
And of course I like to win so I can talk more trash, because it's so much fun, right? And so that's that social support. We're encouraging each other. Come catch me if you can, because I've been doing this a long time. So this is easy for me, but give me a good challenge, because then it gets fun. It's exciting. And that's kind of creating that buddy system, that accountability, like, oh wait, you getting a little close on me. And then I have my best friend, her husband, he has an Apple Watch as well, and he does a lot of labor, so he's always up and down. And I'm like, how do you have 20 hours of staying goals in a day? I'm just trying to get my 12.
Yep.
But he's constantly on the move, so I'm like, he makes it hard for me, because it'd be I don't know, 1 o'clock and he's already made his stand go. I'm like, shoot, I gotta hurry up. And so just creating that buddy system, I think is really important when we talk about fitness and how you keep to it. And so it's just funny, because that's what it's all about. It doesn't have to be, something rigid. It can be something very simple.
And fun.
The key thing is fun. That's right.
Switch it up. Try some new things.
Make it fun.
You have to.
That is so important. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Go and play with the kids. They will love it. Or your grandkids, or your nieces or nephews, your neighbors' kids, anybody's kids. Just go and do some silly dances or something, or just get out and enjoy, in theory, the nice weather.
Right.
Or
in Northeast Ohio, yes, this is beautiful. It's fine.
But you know what? I find I'm even more focused on, because I can't go out and ride my bike. I can't. Well, I could go ride my bike, but I might not want to.
So cold.
Especially not for a long period of time. Or it's kind of too cold to go out and do a long walk. But I can go and do a quick 5-minute walk very quick. It's gonna be fast because it's a little chilly outside,
Yes.
right? But I'm out, I'm getting some fresh air, I'm in and out, and I'm moving. And
Yeah.
again, that's the whole purpose of this,
It
is
is.
to be in motion, right? And when you're in motion, really thinking about the choices that you make as far as what you eat, because you know there's old saying about you are what you eat, right?
Yes.
And I don't know, for some people that's good, some people not so good, and others there's always room for improvement. And so thinking about what you put in your body, you want to put good stuff in your body, because we only have one. I mean, well, in theory, people can get different ones,
Yeah.
but in theory, you know, the ideal is this one body, we only have one, and we need to take as best care of it as we can.
Yep.
So I want to ask you, do you have any like closing remarks, anything you want to share with our audience, especially when we think about, you know, you talked a lot about what's happening here in our immediate area, but we recognize that we have listeners who are all over. And so what is your closing encouraging words for our audience today?
You know, I think it's really just to pay attention to your body. You know, a lot of times we have, you know, there's the signs and symptoms of heart attacks and strokes can differ between men and women. You know, so we always think about, is it, you know, the shortness of breath, the jaw pain, the neck pain, things like that. It's something that we want to just make sure, no matter where you are, they're all this, you know, they're very similar, and calling 911 if you are experiencing some of those signs and symptoms. You can find all of them on our website. It's one of those things where, you know, a stroke, we have the acronym FAST. So it's always remember the FAST acronym. It's face drooping, if your arm's weak and you can't lift your arm up as much as you normally can, if your speech starts to get slurred, then it's time to call 911. Knowing these signs and symptoms could, you know, save somebody's life. Time is muscle, what we say. So the faster you can call 911, the faster you can get help, get diagnosed, the better your odds are for survival. So making sure that no matter where you are, you know those signs and symptoms from that front, and know that, you know, no matter where you are, the Heart Association's there. No matter if you're in Youngstown, if you're in Columbus, if you're in California, the AHA is across the country. You know, our mission is tried and true for that. You can get involved anywhere just by contacting your local American Heart Association. You know, if you are from the Youngstown area, we have a digital experience coming up on February 25th.
Can't wait.
I know, our first ever Go Red for Women event is going to be taking place from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock on Thursday, February 25th. We're going to have survivor stories. We're going to have a great speaker who is an old friend of mine out of Pittsburgh. She really talks about self-care, why it's important to take care of yourself. She's a mom of 3. She is, you know, a working professional and things like that, and just how one day she realized the importance of if she's not her best self, she cannot help everybody else. We have a personalities auction with some really cool items that some great people have donated for us to raise some money for the Heart Association, and just a fun hour for women in the community to get together, even in this digital world, and really understand what it means to take care of yourself. We're going to meet some survivors and hear their stories, that they're pretty young. You know, they're not our older population who have gone through this. They're women under 40 who have had strokes, heart attacks, things like that, and sharing that, you know, they've been given more time, if you will. And so what will we do with more time, and what would we do? So a really just impactful evening. We're so excited to bring it here, and hopefully you can all join us again. Our Facebook page has all that information on there. It's a free event for anybody to sign up for, and we hope that you'll join us that night from near and far, which is fantastic.
So there's a couple of things that we want to remind people of.
Yes.
We got the event that's coming up in the end of February the 25th, which is the Go Red for Women event. We have tomorrow, which is a big day where you want you to go out and wear red, take your pictures, put it on social media,
Yep.
tell the whole wide world that you support heart health.
Yes.
And then not only just taking those pictures and posting them on social media, but we want you to do something like
Yes.
be physically active, go for a quick walk, do some jumping jacks, whatever that is, move your body.
Yep.
We want you to have a heart healthy meal, at least one. More is better, but you know, got to start someplace, right?
Exactly.
Gotta
Fruits or
start
vegetables
someplace.
tomorrow, just throw them in there.
That's right, it's okay, and put less of just eat the vegetables plain, that would be great. But if you're not there yet, that's a goal. That's a goal.
Yes.
To get to the place where you can eat the vegetables without the extra stuff, right? So that's one thing. And then thinking about, you know, how you might be able to get involved with the Circle of Red, and just really getting engaged with what's happening in your community. I think that's really important. And so when we think about from a public health perspective, one of the things that we always talk about as far as awareness is really getting involved in your community and understanding where to go and knowing where to go to seek the help that you need. Because as I've always said, and I continue to say every often, is that public health is everywhere, every day, and everybody. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you soon.